Wathint abafazi, Wathint imbokodo. You strike a woman, you strike a rock. This was a famous South African chant by the women of 1956 who came together to march to the Union building fighting against an apartheid government. For a long time, this chant represented the pride in being a strong and resilient South African woman. You see, women have always been in the forefront of transformation in our country. It's 2025 now, and welcome to a new earth, because this chant is now not so popular amongst the newer generation. Young women are tired of being strong. They want to be treated as eggs with gentleness. In this episode, I'm not only questioning the need for women to always be strong, I'm questioning the expectation of what strong means for all of us as we are increasingly exhausted, disconnected, and feeling like something fundamental is missing. One of our listeners mentioned that South Africa is in her healing era. This call for healing, wholeness, softness is the call of the feminine who lives in all of us, ushering us into a new way of being. To unpack the psychology of feminine energy, I thought we needed society therapy session number 2. Welcome to HumanFuel, a space where we share the human art of thriving. I am the Doctor of Joy, your host, a work psychologist for over 15 years and recently the founder of the Nomalanga tribe. We offer therapy and coaching services like so.
You're building something bigger than yourself, a business, a vision, a legacy, but no one sees the weight you carry. Healing doesn't mean giving up. It means having a tribe that holds you while you lead. Welcome to the Nomalanga tribe, created to support pioneers, change makers, and leaders to thrive. We have therapists who understand your trauma and your ambition. Coaches who see the visionary and the human behind it. We are currently offering therapy and coaching journeys that you can easily access online in 4 easy steps. Number 1, visit our website to fill in a short form and contact us. Number 2, choose your journey and schedule a free 30-minute complimentary chemistry session. Get a healer assigned to you. We offer a tribe of healers who honor your context, your culture, and your calling. And number 4, pay your deposits and start your journey, because all champions have coaches and all pioneers have guides. You deserve a wellness team that gets you. Get 20% off all signature journeys. You don't change the world out there, you become the change in here. Your healing is the strategy. Your well-being is the business plan. Find your tribe of healers and start today.
And if you've missed our very first society therapy session, please check out episode 6. Women's Day in South Africa is rooted in resilience and struggle. This famous slogan, Wathint abafazi, Wathint imbokodo, symbolizes strength, but it also boxed women into being these unyielding rocks, denying softness, fluidity, rest, vulnerability, and wholeness. Today, the women of South Africa are saying we are not just imbokodo, we are more than that. We are whole. And this leads us into a more holistic definition of the feminine that goes beyond the binaries of soft and nurturing versus tough and unbreakable. Because feminine energy is cyclical, it's intuitive, creative, it's relational, it's resilience, and deeply connected to life force. This feminine energy does not just exist in women, but also in men and all living organisms, actually, not just women's bodies. When we take a look at Jungian psychology, one of the fathers of psychology, he mentioned different feminine archetypes that really broaden our perspective and view of what femininity is. These archetypes can also be mapped with a lot more other feminine figures that have been silenced over the years for one reason or the other within our patriarchal society. For example, we find the wild woman, which perhaps can lend itself to Lilith. She is untamed, she is sensual, she's fierce, and she refuses subjugation. Then we get the high priestess, someone like Mary Magdalene, who was the keeper of spiritual wisdom, compassionate, and honored sacred sexuality. We have then the archetype of the mother, widely known, and I like looking at Mother Mary for that, who was almost the giver of life, the nurturer. But if you also look at Eve as one of the first women to be, she also carried the burden of being blamed or shamed in her quest for human consciousness. We have then the lover or the muse like Aphrodite, who embodied beauty, pleasure, passion, and creativity. And lastly, I want to look at the queen archetype. Figures like Isis and other just African rain queens like Queen Mojaji, who were sovereign in their leadership, who could balance authority and service, who were powerful and held responsibility for the land as well. Some of these archetypes have been suppressed under hypermasculinity and the systems of patriarchy, but they are still alive within us and needed for the healing of our times right now. And I suppose I really wanted to start this conversation by asserting that the feminine is multidimensional. She is cyclical, she is holistic, neither just soft nor just strong, but both. We are reclaiming the feminine in her fullness at the moment. The parts of you that are rising as fierce, as wanting to defy suppression and oppression, wanting spiritual wisdom and healing, wanting to appreciate beauty, pleasure, and even play. All of those are elements of the feminine in all of us that are rising now within us. And it matters now more than ever when we look at how our current world has largely been built on hypermasculine ideals such as domination, control, rationality over intuition. We looked at productivity over care. And what has this resulted to? Hmm? Structures of violence, greed, burnout, extraction, and even rage. Women often had to suppress their feminine essence to survive or succeed within these systems. So even when you see women in power, what you find is them dressing or acting and performing masculine to survive in this context. So the global collapse of such big institutions that now cannot stand firm with just one element of who we are, which is the masculine, signals a chance to rebuild differently. We need feminine leadership qualities like empathy and creativity, cooperation, and even leaving room for intuition too. Balancing masculinity and femininity in our society brings wholeness. And this is another point that I wanted to make at the moment, that the idea is not just to elevate the feminine by pushing the masculine down, but to heal the feminine in her wholeness and learn how to cooperate with the masculine to discover an emergence of a new way of being. As the world is in crisis, we are living in times of collapse. The institutions that were built on hyper-masculine principles are falling. For centuries, structures of leadership have been shaped by hierarchy, control, productivity, without empathy. And as we said, this has led to violence and rage in society, the suppression of emotional expression, or it being seen as weak, and a leadership disconnected from the human soul. The world right now feels super unsafe, divided, and essentially out of balance, because the essence of our humanity that cares for the future, that cares for the collective, has been silenced, put aside, and disregarded for far too long. It has been made to appear weak, irrelevant, or even dangerous to include the feminine in our culture, religion, and politics. Therefore, she was suppressed. But now, humanity is being invited to reimagine and co-create new structures that bring the feminine back into balance with the masculine. I've been writing a book and I speak about the 5 calls of this great turbulence, transformation, and change at a macro systemic level. And each one of these calls mirror what is happening when the feminine is suppressed and is inviting us to perhaps see what is possible when the feminine is reclaimed. Let us unpack them real quick. The first is a call for authentic belonging. Colonial and capitalistic systems that have uprooted us from our ancestry, land, and community have done so for far too long, leaving us disconnected. The feminine invites us back into spiritual return, into indigenous knowing, into inner knowing, and a sense of collective belonging. Without her, we feel restless, uprooted, and fragmented. Therefore, society is looking for safe spaces to be, including in our communities, in our workplaces, as you see the rise of psychological safety being asked for in the workplace. The second call is a call for access to opportunities. Despite the promise of democracy, inequality and corruption have left millions without access to education or work. Hypermasculine systems thrive on competition and guarding resources. The feminine invites co-creation, trust, distributed leadership, and shared abundance, redefining opportunity as something that we build together, not something that we guard aside for the select few that have association to power. The third is a call for better discernment. In a noisy digital world, people are overwhelmed and feeling disconnected from true wisdom. We live in an increasingly knowledge era where a lot of information is hitting us with tremendous speed and volume, creating more chaos than clarity. Hypermasculine logic alone reduces intelligence to mere data and productivity. The feminine, when it comes to discernment, brings intuition, compassion, and inner knowing, guiding us to go deeper and understanding through a guided approach of what feels right for me. right now. The fourth is the call for meaningful work. Old narratives of career and success are collapsing, leaving burnout and disillusionment. The feminine reminds us that work can be soulful. Work can create better worlds. Work can be a site for healing, can be a vehicle for purpose and creativity. So without the feminine, work becomes an extraction, and with her, it becomes a contribution of meaning. The fifth and final call, and probably crisis, is that of leadership. We have all seen how the trust in leadership has collapsed in South Africa and globally. Cases such as Ramaphosa and Kwanazi has showed just how disillusioned people in power have been. Hyper-masculine leadership pursues empire, dominance, and profit, looking at resources as scarce, therefore guarding them for themselves. Where feminine leadership is heart-centered, it's relational, and it's courageous. It creates space for others to also thrive and contribute to the greater whole. These 5 calls clearly show us that we cannot heal or rebuild a society without reclaiming and repositioning the feminine as the leader. The crises of our times are not just institutional, they are deeply psychological and spiritual. This is why reclaiming the feminine matters now more than ever, because she is the missing half of our wholeness, both as individuals within ourselves and collectively within our society. So, how do we then move towards healing, reclaiming, and repositioning the feminine? The task, first and foremost, is not to reject the masculine, but to bring the feminine into fullness and then co-create with its counterpart. Both are needed for us to thrive. Take the example of a river flowing in nature. The river banks can be considered the masculine as they offer structure and direction for the river. The water itself represents the feminine, which brings flow, nourishment, and life. If we just had river banks, we wouldn't have a river with water. It would just be dry land, a desert. If we just had water and no banks, what we then have is not a river, but a flood. So, can you see how both these elements of creation, of life, are needed for us to recreate and reclaim a new way of being? So, let's look at it at an individual level and at a collective level. Firstly, at an individual level, Jungian psychology speaks of the process of individuation, which is the process of essentially working on our shadow selves and bringing them into light, integrating the fullness of who we are, and not just showing up from personas that are considered respectable and right for society. So when we look at men, this means that the men must integrate what Jung calls the anima, the feminine within, to become whole. This will then require healing hypermasculinity, which is the distorted masculine that turns its contribution to domination, control, over competitiveness, and suppression of vulnerability. Okay, that's the men. And then when we go into the woman side of things, it's so important that women allow their authentic feminine to breathe rather than overperforming masculinity to survive in a male-coded structure. We are also wanting a healthy feminine, because a wounded feminine needs to be healed of their passivity, their self-sacrifice to the point of harm and manipulation. So this process then of individuation, both for males and females, is about integration and not suppression. It's about being whole. Let us take a moment and go through a guided meditation for heart coherence, which echoes the elements of femininity that's within all of us into the space.
Before you continue as usual, let us take a few minutes to pause and gently drop into our heart space. Ngaphambi kokuthi uqhubeke ngokwenjwayelo, asithathe imizuzwana sime, sizinze ezinhliziyweni zethu. And if it's safe and comfortable to do so, softly close your eyes. Bring your attention to the center of your chest. This is your heart space. Take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Drop into your heart's knowing. And breathe out. Radiate an open, full, strong, and clear heart. Put your hand on your chest. This is the heart of your being. Lena inhliziyo equkethe ukuphila kwakho. Now, affirm after me. I am loved with an everlasting love. The love held for me is wide and deep. I am loved here and now, just as I am. For a brief moment, imagine a person, place, idea, or thing that you appreciate deeply. Realize in this moment. Lukhona uthando. Lukhona uthando futhi lujulile. And when life happens and you forget, reclaim, reaffirm, and remember this always. You stand by love with everlasting love. The love held for you, my darling, is wide and deep. You're loved here and now, just as you are. Take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. Exhale slowly. 3, 2. One last breath in. Drop into your heart's fullest knowing. One final exhale. Out, radiating an open, full, strong, and clear heart. This is the heart of your being. Lena inhliziyo equkethe ukuphila kwakho.
Okay, so a healthy feminine energy offers restoring balance between doing and being, a leadership that prioritizes regeneration and not just extraction, systems that are built on cooperation and interdependence. Because feminine leadership is inclusive, it's relational, and it's attuned to long-term well-being. That is why you're seeing the rise of sustainability happening in different industries, the feminine rising, pointing us to the importance of thinking for the future generation and looking at community over ego-driven competition. The new earth that Eckhart Tolle speaks about when referring to rise in human consciousness. So the new earth needs both the vision and structure of the masculine and the wisdom and flow of the feminine. This episode is an invitation to then redefine for yourself what feminine power can be extracted from within you, and an invitation to wholeness. To women, it's important that we redefine for ourselves what the feminine means, no longer bound by the stereotypes of either weakness or unbreakable strength. You can be soft and fierce and wise and intuitive, nurturing and sovereign, pindubiqanda, and all of it. To men, the ask is to discover your inner feminine and invite her within you. Create safety for her. This makes you a better father, better lover, leader, and a better human. And almost resets your mind where it's okay to be soft and where softness is not weakness. In closing, I'd like to read out a verse from a song that I like. And it says, I'm woman, I'm fearless, I'm sexy, I'm divine, I'm unbeatable, I'm creative. Honey, you can get in line. I'm feminine, I'm masculine. I am anything I want. I can teach you, I can love you if you've got it going on. This feminine energy that is rising is not a trend. It is the soul of our survival and the heartbeat of this new earth.
You have just refueled with HumanFuel, where healing meets conversation and transformation begins with presence. If this episode sparked anything in you, share it with someone you love or someone who needs a little light today. Follow us, subscribe, rate the show, and join the tribe across socials for truth, tools, and more fuel for your journey. Until next time, stay rooted, stay rising, and keep breathing. Siyabo.